Right. So this is day 2, and I know we just took care of a lot of admin work, and I know admin is not the most fun part of the position. I understand. It is kind of tedious and not enjoyable, but it's critical. I know there's still a few of you that still need to get some of this admin stuff done. A manager will be in touch with you, throughout training, but just keep in mind you have a couple of things if you haven't done so yet. You have the electronic paperwork to finish up the payroll that was sent to your email. Once you have that, then you'll be able to register at vectorconnect.com to set up for direct deposit. If you didn't get to that yet, no big deal. You could do it later. Then if you haven't had the conversation with your coach just to review your homework assignments from last night, they'll be in touch with you probably during one of the breaks today. If you also obviously did your homework, then you update your queue, your contacts, your daily goals, and whatnot, and you reviewed your clock in and clock out with your coach. So all of that is what we just got accomplished and got done. What I want to go ahead and transition to is I want to just show you how to be a high flyer if you wanted to be. Okay, so I would have pen and paper ready for this. This is where we're going to dig in, and there's a few of you on here that you might get off to a fast start, and I want to just show you what it looks like if you did get off to a fast start. A couple of you on here, you might be like, I might just kind of work at my own pace and take it slow. No big deal. You could work at your own pace and take it slow too. Either way is fine with me, but I at least wanted to show you the benefits of being a high flyer in case you wanted to be. Just in case you wanted to be. I would take notes because you might get off to a good start and, you might want to keep up some momentum. Here's what I'm going to politely ask you, though. You're going to have people call you back, okay? You just did a lot of phone calls. People are going to call you back. I'm only going to say this once, maybe twice. Please do not answer phone calls during my training. If I thought it was more important for you to answer phone calls than do my training, I would go back to what I was doing before I started training you. So we're not in phone call mode anymore. That was what the last 75 minutes was for. You had all morning and the last 75 minutes for phone calls. We are not doing phone calls anymore. All right, we are in training mode because here's why. If you spent the rest of training answering your phone, you're going to miss the training. What good are doing those appointments if you're not going to do good appointments? So we got to get you to be ready to do good appointments. So don't answer phone calls. All right, you can book it up later. No big deal. We'll give you a couple of breaks. I really want you to be 100% engaged right now and ready to take some notes and be focused and present. It goes without saying, but I mentioned it yesterday. It's not the same group today that it was yesterday. And the reason why is because we have homework assignments. We have benchmarks. We send out text messages. We have communication. You probably see a couple people that we asked to leave our chat because unfortunately, it's kind of like going out on a first date and they're like amazing. You go on this first date with them and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to marry this person. They're my dream. And then you go on a second date and it's like, what happened to the person you were the first time we met? Like it was like, what? It's like a totally different person. And that's sometimes what happens. People will tell us anything just to get the job. And then when we give them the opportunity to work here, they become a different person. And unfortunately, it's just not a good fit. So we try to be as consistent as possible. Our coaches are working very, very hard. Lindsay and Cassidy specifically, both of them are taking very rigorous courses as pre-med majors. And unfortunately, they're just not going to babysit. They're not going to waste their time. And if you're here, I just want to say, welcome back. We're excited to have you here. Feel good. You have nothing to worry about. But we do have those expectations and those standards just to make sure that, people are going to be able to have success working with us because we don't want to set people up for failure and we don't want to compromise our number one standards that we have for our team. So for those of you that do want to be a high flyer and get off to a fast start, I want to give you some of the basics of a fast start, of having a fast start. Before I do that, I just want to show you what's in it for you. Why would you want to have a fast start? Well, first off, by having a 10K fast start, and I know that number might sound intimidating, but a 10K fast start in 10 days. Your fast start I would write down is 10 days. Your first 10 days is your fast start. So when you see $10,000 in your first 10 days, it might seem intimidating at first, but then you're like, okay, it's $1,000 a day. Well, $1,000 in a day might seem like a lot, but our average order is 300 to 400 bucks. It's like 3 sales in a day. Think about it. But raise your hand if you think you could write up three average orders in a day. If you really wanted to, behind your computer, you could write up 3 orders in a day. And think about it from what we talked about yesterday. If it's a $400 order, they could do 5 payments of $80 a month. That's $20 a week, right? That's Chipotle. You and your friends probably drop $20 a week on smoothies, right? So if you feel like you could help 3 families sign up for the Chipotle package of Cutco, right? If you could do that 3 times in one day, and you could do that for 10 days, that's a 10K fast start. Or help a family get one of our sets. I'm going to talk about our sets today, and all of our sets are like buying a MacBook Pro. You know, if you sit down with a family and they could buy a new MacBook for their kid for college or something like that, it's just like a MacBook Pro. You know, what does a MacBook Pro go for nowadays? 1, 2, 3 grand, something like that. So if they could go get a MacBook Pro, hey, they could get a full set of Cutco. That's $1,000 in itself. So maybe you just sit down with a family that could get a MacBook Pro, and you do that once a day for 10 days, and you have a 10K fast start. But regardless of that, I just want you to keep in mind that there are some benefits here of going out and attempting it. So 10K in 10 days. First, you get a President's Club letter. This is a letter of recommendation from the CEO and the president of the company. Now, I will tell you, you cannot buy this piece of paper. You could only earn it. This is one of the most prestigious awards you can get from our company. And you get this beautiful certificate that you put in your portfolio that stays on your resume, that you bring in for future job interviews. And you get this awesome letter of recommendation. Look at this last paragraph. Any individual within an organization that achieves this distinction certainly is a highly motivated and talented individual. Direct sales have long been recognized as a proving ground for successful business people from all walks of life. It requires hard work, self-discipline, a willingness to accept challenge, and a high degree of personal responsibility. Your name is such an individual, and that's why I feel comfortable in passing along my personal recommendation to you. How awesome is that? That is not from your senior guidance counselor. That is from the CEO and the president of Vector Marketing. That is exciting. So we want you to get one of these. We want you, when you have a 10K fast start, you automatically get one of those letters of recommendation for your future interviews in your portfolios. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you earn $2,000 in 10 days. Do you know what your bank account looks like with an extra $2,000 in it? $2,016.42, right? All right, the joke never gets old. But the bottom line is, you know, when you sell 10 grand, you've made 2 grand. And you're at 30% for the rest of your life. You're at dirty 30. When you see these paychecks that I showed you yesterday, right? A couple of these individuals, I was actually just talking to Elon. I have a meeting with him tomorrow. And I said, hey, we have another UT student, Hannah, that's working with us. He said, nice, Spartan takeover. And I said, yeah. I said, Elon, if I have her, if she wants to reach out to you, can you give her some advice on how to have a 10K fast start like you did? Because he did that around school in the spring. He started in like March, right when pandemic hit, April, something like that. He's like, absolutely. So Hannah, if you're interested, I'll introduce you. He's a senior over at UT. You know, $2,000 in income in his first 10 days. You also are at 30% commissions for life. You can't pass up on that. Check this out. You also get $2,000 in free Cutco. $2,000 in free Cutco. Now I can't tell you how awesome it is. I can only kind of give you a flavor of what it's like.
Bro, are these the fucking super shears?
When you get free Cutco, look at that. It's like Christmas.
I didn't know that I got them.
That's Cassie Hatch, one of our students. No,
look at
these, right? Look at this.
Right.
Fired up. You get a ton of free Cutco.
This is the
Pat Morgan
knife.
Fired up. She took a picture as well. Patrick Callahan,
this is my face.
Selfie with the super shears. So if you, by you having a, you get so much free Cutco.
All right,
that you have for yourself forever.
The turning fork.
Free forever. You never have to buy Cutco ever again, and you could just like have it, and you know it's yours forever. You could use it on your demos. You could cook with it. I mean, you can't beat our Cutco product line. You also get 30% commission forever. We talked about dirty 30. Having income once is awesome. What's even more exciting is having income for an extended period of time. That's what's exciting. That's where you can position yourself to make big, big money. Dirty 30, dirty 30 forever. You also, when you have a 10K fast start, you'll get on the newsletter, the regional newsletter. See this? This goes out to every executive across across our entire region. So when you get on this newsletter, you position yourself to get recognized and get noticed. All these people get on that newsletter. Look how much Tampa representation. We dominate that newsletter. So you get on there. You also have the opportunity for Leadership Academy. I would write that one down if you haven't wrote that one down yesterday. The Leadership Academy, where you can go through the 8-month course to learn how to manage your time, how to manage your money, how to manage your energy, how to manage other people, and how to manage yourself. That is the premier course that we offer. And we actually just started. We start it tomorrow at our divisional prep, but we have some late acceptances. We're actually looking to bring on 5 late acceptances during the month of September. So if you can hit your first 4 pay raises during that time frame, you have an opportunity to get into the Leadership Academy. We talked about yesterday, when you have a 10K fast start, you get on Mr. Andrew Evans' radar. He makes all the decisions. He's the division manager. You want that guy to know your name. When you have a 10K fast start, he knows your name. What else is in it for you? Well, we have the trip and the VIP night. The trip and the VIP night. We like to throw down. We like to take care of our people. We just did our last 2 VIP nights. We rented out a couple of bays at Top Golf, which was pretty awesome. We also did a Brazilian steakhouse, and we have rented out a roller skating rink. It was pretty cool. Rented out the whole rink, and then we went to a Brazilian steakhouse. We've done a lot of cool things. We've done limo nights. We've done sporting events. We've done concerts. It's a fantastic celebration of you and all your hard work. And the amount of confidence that you'll get positioning yourself to be one of the top students in the country, competing for a scholarship by having a 10K fast start. You walk a little taller. You stand a little straighter. You work a little harder. You think about money a little differently. So there are 3 factors that go behind having a 10K fast start. Before I give you these 3 factors, what I want each of you to do, I want you to look at that list that you just wrote down. I want you to pick out 1 or 2 that are most exciting for you, that you're like, Mike, all right, you had me at that. I would work hard, and I would work hard for 10 days if you gave me that. If you gave me a shot at that, I would work hard for 10 days. Hit me up in the chat box on Zoom. What was your number 1? What were your top 1 or 2? What were your top 1 or 2 off that list that you're like, all right, Mike, you had me at that. I would work hard. I would work hard for that. If you gave me a chance at earning that in 10 days, I would work hard for it. Hit me up. Harry says, put me on that newsletter. Cami says, that trip, treat me, wine me, dine me. I like it. Jonathan says, free Cutco and the VIP nights. Love it. Akash, that President's Club letter. I'm with you, man. That thing is long-term. That thing is long-term. Yeah, having that free Cutco, Hannah, I agree. Oh, and that trip, oh, you don't even want to know where we're going. I'm just telling you, it's incredible. We've gone all over the Caribbean. We've gone to Costa Rica. We've gone to Mexico. We've gone to Bahamas. That trip is pretty sweet. I'll talk about that a little bit after, though. So you get 30% for life. Hey, Sophia, I'm with you. I sold 330,000 after 10K. All of that was at 30% plus some bonuses. So yeah, part-time work, full-time pay, full-time work, big-time pay. So you all have something. Here's what I would encourage you to do. I would encourage you to share that with your coach. Go ahead in your coaching chat, share that with your coach so your coach knows that, hey, that's what would motivate you. That's what would motivate you. That's what would inspire you. So your coach knows that, hey, if you're feeling a little down, if you're feeling a little uncertain, they can remind you of like, hey, remember, do you want this? Is this something we can motivate you to getting? That way we're leveraging your goals to do a good job working here. So what are the 3 factors? There are 3 factors. Factor number 1, if you wanted to have a 10K fast start, these are the 3 things you need to do. Number 1, you got to hustle. You got to be willing to work hard. And you work hard in 3 categories. Those categories are, number 1 is the 10 by 10 by 10. 10 by 10 by 10. That adds up to be 30 appointments. Now, I'm not a fortune teller, but here's what I'll tell you. In my career of training sales representatives, I've never had a representative do 40 presentations and not sell 10K in 10 days in my whole career. If you did 30 in 10 days, I would bet money on it with my training that I give you that you would have a 10K fast start. I've had people do it in less than 20. I've had people do it in less than 20. But I like 30. So if you wanted to do 20, you could do a 10 by 5 by 5 if you have a busy schedule, something like that. Do the 10 to get momentum, and then a 5 Tuesday through Friday, and then a 5 Saturday through Monday, something like that. I've had people do it. You could do it in less than 10, but I would bet on 30. 30 appointments with soccer moms. You do 30 MAC appointments, I would bet money you will have a 10K fast start. That's number one. How do you do that? Well, I would say you're going to want to have 100 phone numbers. You're going to want to have 100 phone numbers. You're going to want to have 100 phone numbers because some people just don't answer their phone. I don't know exactly how many phone numbers you might need, but I know you're going to need at least 30 to do 30 appointments. But I would say 30 is a very good cushion for you to have. Today, I'm going to teach you some strategies and some social media tools that you could use, recommendations as well. But the thing that I need to help you with right now is that you have a lot of people that you could do appointments with, tons. But one of the things that we need to help you with is how to ask them for their phone numbers. How do you find the phone numbers of all these people? And that's one of the strategies that I'll introduce to you real quick, okay? First, when it comes to getting people's phone numbers, it's probably 80% mentality, 20% strategy. When I say 80% mentality, if Cammie, for example, I'll pick on Cammie. If Cammie has someone that she is nervous to call, she's probably nervous to reach out to them and ask them for a favor for one of a few reasons. She's scared that they're gonna, make fun of her. She's scared that they might reject her. She's scared that they might judge her. She might feel weird because she hasn't talked to them in a while. So there's all these different uncertainties that Cammie has. Now, I was there. But the reason why most of my representatives are willing to go through that slight discomfort and go through that little bit of uncertainty is because on the other side of that uncertainty is success. I'm not telling you that you have to go reach out to these people and ask them, but if you wanted to get off to a faster start where you're not waiting for people to give you numbers, but you're creating your own phone numbers, you might need to get a little bit of that courage. And here's what I'll tell you about courage. Here's what I'll tell you is that if you're willing to ask, you have a chance at a yes. But if you don't ask, the answer is always no. In one of my books, it's called Real Stories, Real People. And I have a story in there that's about me in 8th grade. And it's about me in 8th grade. I wrote about a girl that I was scared to ask out on a date. Her name was Rachel. And I remember in 8th grade, I was scared to ask her out on a date. And I had a crush on her for about a year, from 8th grade to 9th grade. And I used to role play in the mirror. I was this kid. I was you ever see one of those stupid teen movies? Yeah, that was me. All right, American Pie. I was that dude. So I would role play and practice in the mirror, asking her out, and it never went my way, so I never did. So I was like, no, I don't have enough confidence. And I witnessed Joe Nagy ask Rachel out on a date in lunch freshman year, and she said yes, and she started going out with Joe. And I had a resentment. I still remember it. I mean, we're going back 20 years. I still remember it. And I remember the feeling of regret and the pain of regret watching someone else take what I wanted, right? It's almost like if you have a customer on your list that you're nervous to call and you watch someone else from the training class sell them $5,000 and get 50 recommendations from them. And you're like, shit, I had that lead and I did nothing with it. That was like the feeling I had. And what I put in the story is that what I learned from this, looking back on it 20 years later, is if I asked Rachel out, if I said, Rachel, I really like you. I'd like to take you out for dinner Friday night. Worst case scenario, we have a good conversation. Best case scenario, we'll see what goes from there. Would you like to go out with me Friday night? And if she said no, I'm still eating dinner by myself Friday night. So either way, I was eating dinner by myself. If I ask her, I have a chance at eating dinner with her. If I don't ask her, the worst case scenario, I'm still eating dinner by myself. So my life didn't get worse. So I want you to write down in your notes that rejection is not real. Life stays the same or it gets better as long as you ask. Life stays the same or it gets better as long as you ask. If you ask and they say no, you are where you were when you asked. If you ask and they say yes, you get what you wanted and you succeeded. So I'm not telling you have to go do it, but I am saying you might want that little bit of courage to get the reward. So you have to think about risk versus reward. Risk versus reward. What's the risk? is just a little bit of time it takes to ask them if life just stays the same. But what's the reward? $2,000 in income, $2,000 in Cutco, 30%, VIP nights, trips, right? So you got to ask yourself, is the risk versus the reward? Most of my best people will tell you it is. Because here's what you'll find out. When you ask them for their parents' number, when you ask them for a favor, when you ask them for a demo, 10 out of 10 times, they say yes. How about, by a show of hands, how many of you were nervous to reach out to someone yesterday or this morning, but you did it anyway, and you ended up getting the phone number or got an appointment? Did anybody have that happen where you were nervous? Look at this. Look at this. Almost everyone. Almost everyone. I want to hear from, is it Aya or Aya? I'm sorry. Aya? Is it Aya?
It's Aya, yeah.
Aya, tell me, you were the first, you were like eager to raise your hand. Tell me about the situation. Who were you nervous to reach out to? And then how did the end result go?
Well, some of my mom's friends, I literally had like a couple of like, I was so hesitant about like whether I should actually call them or not. And so I was like, I have to do it. I have to get used to it. And so I took a deep breath, called them, and I actually got so many recommendations. Some of them gave me their daughter's number. Some of them, they were like, oh, I got friends who actually is getting married and need a set. And I was like, perfect. And so, yeah,
I love that.
It was great.
Aya, that's amazing. I really appreciate you chiming in. And how many, and by the way, with that mentality, how many appointments did you end up getting to? Like, how many appointments did you have before you had that? Like when you were nervous, how many appointments did you have before you were nervous?
Okay, so before I only had, like my goal was only 5 because I didn't think I would have the courage to actually do it. But then when I actually did it, now I reached 10. So, and I'm still getting numbers. People are still sending me like info. And so, yeah, I reached the 10 right now.
Very cool. So you were a little bit nervous. So you set a small goal and then you found courage and you doubled your goal. And now you achieved that goal. And now now you have even a larger goal because you have momentum.
Yes.
That's all. Have I talked to you? I had no idea, right? We haven't even talked, so.
No.
So yeah. I really appreciate that. But I sensed your confidence when you said it. He's like, yes, that's me. Because there's some people right now that heard what you just said and they needed to hear that right now. And I really appreciate your courage because you just helped somebody else. There was at least one person that heard that and said, shoot, if Aya can do it, I can do it. And I appreciate you for having the courage to step up and find your own courage and call people and realize that it's really not that big of a deal to ask for favors. You did it, you saw results, and now you ideally inspired at least a few people to say, all right, I'm going to rip off the Band-Aid. I'll do this too. So kudos to you, Aya. And I'm really excited to see the results that come from that courage.
Yeah.
So everybody, that's the first thing. Okay. That's the first thing is the 10 by 10 and the 100 numbers. The next is a 5 by 5. 5 by 5 is 5 calls before and 5 calls after. What do I mean by that? The worst part of the job at Cutco is phone calls. Like everything that you did was the hardest part. Like sitting there at one sit and just making the phone calls, like that's the hardest part of the job. That's the worst part of the job because you're not getting the immediate gratification. So you want to lighten the load to make it not feel like you work all the time. So what you want to do is you want to do a 5 by 5. What that is for every one appointment you do, you do 5 calls before you do the appointment, clock out with your coach, and make 5 phone calls after. 5 calls before, 5 calls after. So the concept here is you do an appointment, you set an appointment. So for every one appointment you complete, you replace it and create another appointment. So if I have 4 appointments on Saturday, I'm going to do 4, but I'm also going to set 4. So for the 4 that I completed, I replaced it with 4 more. So I'm constantly replicating the appointments I complete, which is consistently filling my schedule doing a 5 by 5. So for every one appointment I complete, my job is to get on the phones and replace it with another one. Do 2, set 2, do 3, set 3, do 4, set 4. And this 5 by 5 concept, 5 before and 5 after every demo, is going to keep your schedule booked so that way you can do a 10 by 10 by 10. And the last one with hustle is tie your parents into your goal. So this goal that we just talked about here, You want to tie your parents into that goal so that way they can support you. When I told my mom that I was selling knives originally, she was like, yeah, right, like good luck. But when I did my demo for her and I did my appointment and she bought a galley set and I shared my goals with her, she was on top of my business. She was like, looking at my list with me. She was telling me, you better call Dr. Hawk, the orthodontist. She was all in because she said, I want you to do well here. I want you to pay for your own education. Now, maybe my mom knew that the more money I made, the less money I had to borrow from her, but maybe she just liked me and she wanted to help me hit my goals. But what I really think is my mom took me seriously. See, there were things in my life where my mom and my parents took me seriously, and there were certain things that they probably didn't take me as serious on because I didn't take myself seriously. So for example, when I said I was going to start playing tennis, I never picked up a tennis racket in my entire life. I said I was going to start playing tennis. And, sophomore year of high school, I picked up first tennis racket and I was terrible. And I used an old tennis racket that we had lying around the house. But you know what? After I finished my sophomore year, I kept practicing. My mom watched me go to the tennis courts every single day to practice with my friends. Eventually, I came home and there was a brand new tennis racket after about 6 months of practicing every day. And she said, I saw how hard you're working, so I wanted to invest in you, and I want to get you a new tennis racket. Same thing, when I picked up the guitar, I started playing guitar. I was like, I'm going to play guitar. And at first, I was borrowing my friend's guitar. Every time they came over, they brought their friend's guitar. I was practicing. And one day, my dad saw I kept practicing with my friend's guitar. Bam, I had a new guitar showing up in my house. Because he saw that I was willing to practice. I was willing to commit. I was willing to work hard. And I shared my goals with them. I was like, I'm going to learn how to play. I'm going to do this thing. So if you can tie your parents into your goals and show them how you're committed, and I'm doing this, I'm waking up, show up for your morning workshop. I would say tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., like start there. Start waking up earlier. Start doing things that you normally wouldn't do, like make your bed, right? Clean your room. Show your parents, like, I am a new version of me. I'm not the same kid that I was yesterday. I'm maturing. I'm growing up. I'm treating myself better. I'm a business owner now. I'm taking this seriously. And if you take it seriously, they're going to take you seriously, and they're going to go out of their way to help you. Watch how many phone numbers they give you. They're going to start asking you more questions about, like, what can I do to support you and help you? So tie your parents into your goals. That's number one. So number one, when I say work hard, first benchmark is do those 10 appointments. Leave training. Make sure during breaks, get those 10 appointments booked before Monday at midnight. 10 by 10 by 10, at least 10 by 5 by 5. But get those 10 appointments your first weekend. Why? Because of momentum and confidence. That's number one. Number two. So number one, you need to work hard. You got to hustle. Number two, you need the coaching. You got to have coaching. And that's why we have our workshops every single day at 9 a.m. to 9:30, Monday through Sunday, every single day. So tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., hop on this Zoom. It's on this Zoom, 9 a.m. There'll be a workshop. It will look something like this. This is one that Cassidy ran earlier in the week. Great looking crew this morning. We went over how to get more phone numbers. If that, there's different workshops every day. There's a workshop on phoning. There's a workshop on getting numbers. There's a workshop on goal sharing. All these workshops. And it's an intimate setting. You can see it's an intimate setting. But we'll play a video. We'll talk. We'll have conversation. We'll answer questions you have. I highly recommend you to show up. You got to show up for those workshops. It's funny. I had a professor in college that had voluntary or optional exam preps, optional exam preps. It was Dr. Das, and he said, it was one of those big, giant 400-person lectures. He said it was 2 exams, midterm and a final, and the exam was Monday morning at 8 a.m. So he hosted an optional Friday night workshop on exam review. It was like a 6:30 p.m. on a Friday night. No one goes to college campus at Friday night at 6:30 p.m. So he knew. So out of a 400-person lecture, there was maybe 20 of us that showed up for the exam prep. And he told us, he said, I'm always willing to give more to those who are willing to give more. And he worked out every single problem, showed us on the whiteboard, showed us everything, showed us how to do it. We worked it out. 8 a.m. showed up, the exact same answers. The same test that he worked through with us on Friday night was on the exam Monday morning. Needless to say, we got a great grade. Final exam rolled around. He said, I'm hosting the workshop on Friday night. One of the kids raised his hand. He said, Dr. Doss, I heard if we show up to Friday night, you're going to give us all the answers. And he slammed his coffee on the desk and he says, I don't give the answers. I'm always willing to give more to those who are willing to give more. I will show you how to work it out. I will show you how to solve it. But you ultimately will come up with the own answers. And I remember this. I mean, we're going back a decade. I remember this. So these workshops, yeah, they're optional. But if you're going to the class, if I want to get a good grade in that class anyway, of course I'm going to show up for the optional workshops. I spent all that money on my education. I'm going to take advantage of any workshop that's available to me. So if you want to have a big fast start, you want to make big money, you want to win trips, you want to win big prizes, I'm going to inspire you. Show up for the optional workshops. Show up. They're going to help you. Show up. They're going to help you. So work hard, get coaching. What would you call someone that's willing to work hard but doesn't want to learn more? I'm willing to work hard, but I don't want to learn. What do you call that person? Closed-minded? Yeah. What do you call someone that's like, I want to learn everything. Teach me everything, but I don't want to work hard. Keep teaching me everything. I just don't want to work hard. What do you call that person? You can hit me up in the chat box. I want to learn, but I don't want to work. Yeah, lazy, right? Akash, thank you. April, thank you, Cami. Lazy, call that person lazy, right? So what am I saying? You can't be lazy and you got to be open-minded. If you're open-minded and you're willing to work hard, we're going to hook you up. And the last thing is today, before training is over, I'm going to teach you how to drop some bombs. I'm going to teach you how to drop some bombs. I'm going to show you how to sell large sets of cut-go. And obviously that's one easy way to, help you have a fast start. How do you have a 10K fast start? Well, if you have one customer drop $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on one sale, that's a pretty easy way to have a 10K fast start. Alex Stubblefield, she left training and her first day, she had a 10K order. Her first day, $10,000 sale. I'll show you how to do that during the Dropping Bombs workshop. You know, we had Ashley Pekin, her first sale was $8,000. We had Matt Rach's first day, sold $8,000, right? So we're going to show, of course, it's easy to have a 10K fast start when you have larger orders. We're going to show you exactly how to do that. And it's not what you think. It's actually quite simpler than you might think. So those are your three things: hustle, get coaching, and have larger set orders. If you do those three things, you're going to crush it. So I want to introduce you to these sets so that way you're familiar with them. Of course, I'm going to do a full Dropping Bombs workshop with you later, but just a few things you might want to take note of. So we have three sets. We have three popular sets. One is called the basic, one is the medium, one is the complete. The basic is called the Homemaker Plus 8. The medium is called the signature set. It comes with 10 table knives in the front. And the ultimate has 12 table knives in the front. You got the basic, medium, complete. Comes with 8, 10, or 12 table knives. The complete is the biggest, baddest set of kitchen knives in the world, okay? It's the absolute best value. It's approximately 28% discounted by buying it as a set versus individual pieces. It's basically a food processor in a block. Everything you would ever need. Now, here's the thing. I know that it looks very large, but it's the size of a sheet of paper. If you put a piece of paper, a sheet of paper on your countertop, that's how large it is. It's perfect for families who love to cook, entertain, and just want the best of the best. It's everything a family would ever need. So if they love to cook, and it is by far the best value. That's what my wife and I have. And the block is never full. We're always using some of those tools. The signature set has 10 table knives. This has been the most popular set since 2009. It's 10 knives, 2 forks, and a spatula. It's designed for a family who maybe barbecues once a month. It's the smallest set that includes the super shears that cut the penny. It comes with 10 table knives, and it has the customer requested tools. I would even maybe take a screenshot of this picture here, but these are the most popular customer requested tools: the Hardy slicer, the Santoku knife, and the cheese knife. The Hardy slicer is for things that are a little bit more dense. The Santoku knife, which is the mini chopper, we call it the mini chopper, the wife knife or the Rachel Ray knife. It's for delicate chopping, awesome for like a cilantro. And then you got a cheese knife, which is awesome for cutting anything that's a little bit more starchy or sticky. And it's a fantastic tool that comes in the set. So the signature set is the smallest set that holds the super shears, and it comes with the 3 customer requested tools. The basic, which is the Homemaker Plus 8, that's what I showed you yesterday. It's just the small basic set. It's the 7 knives, 2 forks, and the spreader that I showed you yesterday. It's enough to, you know, if you just don't even cook that much, you just got to cut a rotisserie chicken and a watermelon. It has 8 table knives in the block. That's your set. Real simple. That's your Homemaker set. So who buys what type of set? So if I'm with the Homemaker set, a family of 3 to 4, and they cut stuff up 1 to 2 times a week. A signature set is great for a family of 4 or 5 that cooks maybe 3 to 4 times a week, and maybe once a month they'll host a family barbecue. And then you got the ultimate sets. People love to cook, they entertain, or they just have like a nice kitchen. So that way, if you're whatever type of family you're with, these are the 3 options. I would take a screenshot of that slide, or I would write that down. So you have an idea of like, okay, if I'm with a family that does this, I'm going to show them this. If this, then this. If this, then this. So you at least know. And if you're unsure, just call the office for a deal. We'll ask you a few questions about the customer, and we'll guide you and support you and show them whatever the best option might be for them, and we'll hook them up. So so before training is over, I'll give you an official Dropping Bombs workshop on those 3 sets. So go ahead. Let's go to your WhatsApp. Hit me up. What are some light bulbs that showed up for you over the course of that high flyer workshop? The high flyer workshop that I just ran. What were some light bulbs that showed up for you that you liked, that stood out to you, that really resonated for you?